let's be honest for a second. Are you completely tired of watching your weekend football accumulators just crash and burn, all because you relied on a gut feeling? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely shift your mindset. We're taking you from being a casual football fan who just kind of hopes for goals to a mechanical, cold-blooded, data-driven trader operating in the both teams to score, or BTS market. So let's dive right in and look at the actual blueprint for finding a consistent edge by analyzing the underlying data that truly drives match volatility.
To pull this off, we're going to build our entire strategy on 4 key pillars: pre-match filtering, automating the shortlist, in-play triggers, and backtesting systems.
So, let's kick things off with Pillar 1, pre-match filtering metrics, or as I like to call it, finding the perfect storm.
Look, to actually find that perfect storm, basic stats like simple goals for and goals against, they're gonna lie to you. Seriously, they only tell you what the final score was last week, which is exactly what the casual approach relies on. The professional standard, though, that uses expected goals, XG, and expected goals against, XGA. These are predictive metrics, and they show us how a team actually plays, not just the lucky or unlucky results they happen to scrape together. And that brings us to the very first ironclad rule of our blueprint. Listen closely. You want both teams in your targeted match to average an expected goals and an expected goals against of strictly greater than 1.25 over their last 10 matches. Why? Well, a high XG proves they consistently create real, dangerous chances, and a high XGA proves they consistently concede high-quality chances. Basically, this right here is the absolute baseline for our perfect storm. Now, here's where we expose the really dangerous trap of overall form. Imagine a team boasting a solid 60% overall BTTS strike rate. A casual bettor jumps on that immediately, right? But split that data up and the reality completely shifts. Turns out, they score on a massive 90% of their home games, but a dismal, terrible 30% when they play away. See, overall form is deeply, deeply deceptive. You absolutely must isolate home data for the home side and away data for the visitor. That's the only way to see the true chaotic strike rates. To wrap up our pre-match filtering, we have to apply a strict exclusionary rule. If either team has a clean sheet rate or a failure to score rate higher than 25% in their respective home or away split, instantly discard the match. Literally, just throw it out. You do not want solid defenses or blunt attacks. What you're looking for are chaotic, leaky teams that absolutely guarantee action at both ends of the pitch. Moving right along to Pillar 2, automating the shortlist, which is all about eliminating that manual grind. Let's be real, manually checking data across dozens of leagues is practically impossible. It's a huge time sink. So instead, we use custom alerts through platforms like In-Play Guru or Odd Alerts. The very first parameter you're going to set is the average total goals, and this must be greater than 2.75. If the historical data doesn't expect nearly 3 goals in the game, honestly, it doesn't even make your shortlist, period. Next up, we add our second strict mathematical boundary. The season's both teams to score strike rate simply has to exceed 60% for both teams involved. You know, we aren't just guessing here. We are demanding that these teams have a proven mathematical track record of delivering on this exact market throughout the current campaign. Finally, for the pre-match shortlist, you've got to set your odds filter. You want to look for starting exchange prices right between 1.65 and 1.95 on the Betfair exchange. This right here is the pre-match sweet spot. If the starting price is hovering around 1.40, the value is already completely gone. But conversely, if it's way up at, say, 2.20, well, the market definitely knows a secret that your data doesn't. Maybe there's a key striker injury, or maybe there are extreme weather conditions. Just trust me, stick to the sweet spot. Okay, let's hit Pillar 3, reading in-play triggers, where we focus on validating match momentum. Now, pre-match analysis only builds your watch list. But if you ever sat there and asked yourself, the game looked absolutely perfect on paper, every single metric lined up, so why on earth am I watching a boring tactical stalemate? Well, because pre-match assumptions are just that, they're assumptions. They have to be proven by live tempo once the referee actually blows the whistle. Bottom line, if the tempo isn't there, you do not enter the trade. So how exactly do we measure live tempo? We use 3 really specific proxies. First off, you want to see the combined dangerous attacks hitting greater than 1.5 to 2.0 per minute in the opening stages. That proves both teams are actually crossing the halfway line with real intent. Second, you want a shot volume check. You're looking for a combined minimum of 4 to 5 shots by the 20th minute. And third, keep a close eye out for the early goal catalyst because that completely changes the match dynamic. Let's put this all on a live match timeline so you know exactly when to execute. Minutes 1 to 25, that is where the early goal catalyst lives. An early goal essentially forces the trailing team to abandon their defensive setup, which instantly opens up counterattacking space. It is absolutely the best time to hit a BTTS bet. Then, around minute 15 to 20, that's your validation window. That's when you're checking for your 1.5 dangerous attacks per minute and those 4 to 5 shots. And finally, we have the late match chases from the 70th minute onwards.
Actually, let's picture this specific 70th minute scenario for a second. The game is 1-0, or maybe 0-1, and we're passing the 70th minute. If you look at your live momentum graphs and you see the trailing team is just generating massive pressure, I'm talking forcing multiple Asian corners, completely dominating possession, backing BTTS right here often provides incredible odds. Why? Because the trailing team is literally throwing everything forward, leaving themselves completely exposed at the back.
And that brings us to our final section, Pillar 4, Systematizing and Backtesting. This is all about stripping away emotion.
Look, to truly graduate from just a casual bettor to a real trader, you have to strip away all of your emotion. And the absolute only way to trust your strategy during a losing streak is to prove it mathematically first. You need to be asking yourself questions like, does your exact system perform better in the Australian A-League or, say, the Dutch Eerste Divisie? What happens if you only enter trades when the pre-match exchange price is above 1.75? You've got to rigorously test these variables across different leagues to find out where your true edge actually lies.
And this right here is exactly what you were looking for at the end of your backtesting, the final mathematical proof. If your Python script shows that your specific parameters yield a consistent 65% strike rate at average odds of 1.80, well, congratulations. You've officially removed emotion from the equation and you have found a fundamentally profitable system.
I really want to leave you with this defining thought today. Once the data proves your edge, you have a mathematically profitable system. You just have to execute it mechanically. Successful trading, it isn't about having a great feeling about some weekend derby. Not at all. It is entirely about trusting the data blueprint, sticking strictly to your thresholds, and checking your gut feelings at the door.
So look at the data in front of you right now and ask yourself honestly, are you ready to step up and mechanically trade the perfect storm? Or are you going to keep relying on basic deceptive form? The tools, the metrics, and the timeline, they are all right there for you. It's time to let the data dictate the trade. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we decode even more of the numbers that drive the beautiful game.